Week 10 of the NFL season is in the books, and we have a lot to talk about here on Stacking the Box on the recap show. We were not live yesterday because of the holiday, so now Tuesday morning, here we are live to recap all 14 NFL Week 10 games. Sterling, how's it going?
I'm good. Things are great over here. How about you, Ian? How are you doing?
Things are great. I one of the worst weeks betting I ever had. My Falcons lost to a division rival who hadn't won in 7 games. Everything's just peachy over here, Sterling. Thank you for asking.
I'm so proud of you for running the marathon. How about that? Does that still count? I'm still impressed.
Sure, thank you. I'm in a bad spot when I'm growing out my beard. I'm giving the beard another try again. It's probably not going to work, but I'm just in that kind of spot right now in my life where I just need to try to grow a beard.
It's like a goatee, though. You don't really get the beard. It's a nice goatee. I'll give you that. I'll grant you it is a nice goatee.
I think I might just end up shaving it into a goatee because I don't grow any hair on my cheeks really, which is kind of pivotal for a beard. So
Some say.
Yeah, I might just go to a goatee here by the end of the week, but we'll see. Before we get into our Week 10 recap, Underdog, it is the best place to cash in on all of your takes this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are ice cold? Make your entries in just a few taps and turn your sports opinions into real money. Join over 5 million fans that are already playing on Underdog, including yours truly. With their Champs game, you could win money by making entries with your favorite players. Underdog is the best place to play champions, so sign up and deposit now using promo code Stacking the Box to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. The Stacking the Box, that is all one word. I love Underdog. I will have a lineup for tomorrow's show for the Thursday Night Football game. We've got a banger of a Thursday Night Football game this week. The Eagles and the Commanders, a game that, preseason probably didn't look good. Now it looks like it's going to be a good game. So for tomorrow's show, I will have an Underdog lineup ready to go for that. But I love it. I use it for basically just about every single primetime game. Download the app today and use a code Stack in the Box to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Higher or lower, you make the call on Underdog. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP, 1-800-639-8783, or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Let's start.
I think you need to call that number after your performance last week, although I can't say anything else because my performance in this was brutal.
Listen, when it comes to betting on sports, sometimes you make bad bets. Sometimes you make good bets that end up just losing because of bad luck. I think, unfortunately, I was the latter of the two because I got CLV. I know non-bettors, we don't want to spend too much time betting here, but I got closing line value on every single bet, and I just lost a lot of coin flip games. Jake Moody missed 3 field goals. 49ers couldn't cover because of that. Younghoe Koo missed 3 field goals. Falcons didn't cover because of that. I took Bengals money line instead of spread. They missed the 2-point conversion on Thursday night. I just had some coin flip games go against me. But in terms of non-betting stuff, Sterling, let's start right where Trevor in the chat says the game he brings up, the Chiefs-Broncos game, was factory made to drive Ian insane. I did take Broncos plus the point, so I did win my bet for that game. You know what? It didn't even make me angry, and I wish I would have live bet the Chiefs when the Broncos were about to kick the game-winning field goal, because I knew. I said it out loud. I was sitting here by myself. I said, there's no way the Broncos make this kick. I knew they were going to miss this game because it's the Chiefs. We see this week after week, year after year. Why would you ever expect anything differently? Do you want the different ways that the Chiefs have won games at the end of the game this season is insane. Let's just list a few of them, Sterling. Isaiah Likely had a toenail outside the back of the end zone. Ravens lose. Bengals got a questionable penalty against the Chiefs in their game. Bengals lose. Chiefs then got a clear penalty against the Falcons that wasn't called. Falcons lose. This week, a blocked field goal. Broncos lose. Last week, the Buccaneers didn't go for 2 in a clear spot where they should have went for 2 for the win. Chiefs then win the coin toss, go down and score in overtime. Buccaneers lose. And those are just the 5 off the top of my head. I'm sure there's been more this season, but those 5 ways to win games at the last second are 5 different ways. They're not even doing it the same way. So it is impressive the Chiefs are finding different ways to win games and to win games they don't deserve to win on a weekly basis.
I don't know about
I'm not even mad at the Chiefs. I mean, it's because I'm not mad because every time this happens, I just get proven more and more right.
Yeah, winners win, baby. Winners win is what it comes down to. The Chiefs are winners.
Sure.
And there are teams that blow games like this, like the Broncos. They're losers. This, again, part of it is coaching. If you want an actual take here, the Chiefs had identified Alex Forsyth throughout the entire game. I was at the game. I was in the press box. I talked to Mike Pinnell, who was on that play after the game. He said, basically quoting here, that Leo Chenal called his shot saying, hey, I'm getting this ball here. They had a situation where Alex Forsyth, the Broncos backup center who's playing guard, had been on his ass like 8 of the last 9 extra point or field goal attempts. That is the weak spot in the Broncos field goal unit. And so the Chiefs overloaded that with Karlaftis, with Leo, and they were able to make a play. I mean, if Leo didn't block the kick, George Karlaftis was there as well. Could Will Lutz have probably popped the ball up? He kind of kicked it like it was a 50-yarder versus a 35, like an extra point. Yes, he sure could have, but Leo and George were there almost immediately. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of luck involved in that. I'm not disagreeing to an extent, but there was also more that went into it that I think people realize. In the Super Bowl where the Chiefs blocked the 49ers extra point, this was the same play, by the way. This was the same special teams play. So for those people listening going, it's all luck, oh my gosh, how does this happen? There's a lot more that goes into these extra point plays, these field goal block units. They don't use them in the first quarter traditionally. They wait until there's a very important moment to try and bust one of these situational plays out, and the Chiefs were able to in this one, and it worked. So,
yeah, I'm not saying it's luck. I mean, a blocked field goal is, obviously an impressive thing to do, but it's not like other teams don't have these kind of like mini game plans for things to do on. It's just that with the Chiefs, it just works 100% of the time in the most key moments.
Well, that's what it is. It's the key moments. The Steelers have blocked extra points, blocked field goals more than any other team. But we don't talk about it as often because traditionally they have not come in these game-altering fourth quarter moments. This was literally to win or lose the game. It's not going to get more pivotal than that.
Yeah, it is what it is. I can't sit here and make, I think everyone who watches and listens to the show knows my take. And it's that some kind of, I don't know what it is. It's some voodoo that Tom Brady used to have as he passed that. I don't know if it's a talisman that he has in his locker or like some kind of chant that he does before the game. But whatever Tom Brady's secret was, he just gave it to Mahomes when he retired because it's the Patriots all over again.
It had to be, hey, Patrick, you let me get a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers, and I'll give all the good vibes to you. That's the only
Great
logical
point.
explanation, right? I mean, if we're being serious here, that has to be it, right?
That's a great point. Yeah. They made a deal before that Super Bowl. And, the Chiefs' offense looked terrible. So Patrick Holmes might have thrown that game, sacrificed that game for 8 Super Bowls in his career and an undefeated season. Speaking of the Chiefs' undefeated season, listen, Sterling, I know that I don't think you think that they're going to go undefeated, but when you look at their schedule, they're going to be favored in every remaining game, most likely, except for this weekend. So if they get past the Bills this weekend, where they are 2.5-point underdogs, they take on the Panthers, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Browns. They're at home to the Texans. On the road to the Steelers in Week 17 is going to be a tough one, and also on the road in Denver in Week 18. So, it's certainly not an easy win the rest of the way out, but there are some easy wins in there. And like I said, I think they'll be favored in every game after this weekend. Will they go undefeated?
No, I don't think so. And I don't love talking about it. To me, it's almost like a perfect game or a no-hitter when you're a pitcher. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. We're just over halfway through the season. Like, it's not like they're 14-0 and there's 3 games left.
Right.
There's still 8 games left. They almost lost to the Broncos, right? Like, I never understand this conversation because they almost just lost to the Broncos at home. Then they go to Denver. Denver's been really good against Kansas City physicality-wise over the past couple seasons. You have the Bills. You have that weird wonkiness of 3 games in 11 days with the Steelers and the Texans both thrown in there. I mean, it's difficult. And yeah, as Hunter says, if Chiefs clinch the 1 seed, they will bench Mahomes. There's one scenario where they may not do that. They actually might have to play the starters week 18, at least for a half. Because if they don't play the starters for a half, there's like a month off if they get the first round bye because of how the schedule lines up. Like, it'd be 20 plus days before they would play, like in between games. I don't think you want to have 20 plus days off in between games. So we'll see. There's some wonkiness to the schedule. So I don't know if they'll bench Mahomes for a full game. Maybe it's just a half, like you treat it like a preseason game almost. But yeah, I think the undefeated talk, quite frankly, is way too premature.
I disagree that they'll bench their starters. I think if they're undefeated heading into week 18, they play their starters 100%. I mean, this is a team that the whole narrative is they want to do a three-peat because it's history. You're telling me 18-0 is not history? Yeah. They're going to try for a three-peat because it's history, but not try for 18-0. They're definitely going to play their starters if they're, or not, sorry, not 18-0, 17-0. If they're 16-0 heading into the Broncos game, they're playing their starters. 100%.
They'll probably have some guys coming back, like Hollywood Brown will be hopefully coming back around that point. Charles Omenihu, defensive end, will be trying to get his feet underneath him. Isaiah Pacheco will be back at that point. Will he still be trying to knock some rust off? And then again, with the schedule, if they get the 1 seed, that's a long off period. So they might at least play for a half, right? So we'll see. A lot of it comes down to guys are coming back off of injury around that time frame as well.
There are some odds out whether or not the Chiefs go undefeated. I'm looking at 8-1, an implied probability of 11.11%. Do you think that is about right? An 11% chance to go undefeated?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, again, I don't know why everyone thinks that it's like a sure thing. They're 9-0, and how many games? But you mentioned it. They've had 4 games, 5 games. I don't really count the Falcons one. Sorry, but they've had 4 games come down to the very end.
Why would you not count the Falcons one?
I mean, they would have had time. Like, let's be real. Let's be real, Iain. Come on. The Bengals, the Ravens, the Buccaneers, and then the Broncos game. Those 4, I think, are legit ones, like down to the very wire. And if you're a cat, they've used 4 of their 9 lives. So do they have 5 lives left? I just think it's way too premature. That was the 9 games. They have 8 games left, and they've already won 4 by last-second situation. So I think it's way too premature. 11% seems correct.
Let's stay in the AFC. Let's talk the AFC playoff picture, specifically the final wild card spot here. Oh, Trevor, yeah, don't worry. We'll get to the Falcons game. We're all good. We'll get there. We are going to stick in the AFC here, though. This final wild card spot, no one kind of really wants to claim it. The teams in competition for it, the Broncos, Colts, and Bengals, all lost, so they all just kind of stayed the exact same. So the Bengals at 4-6, still alive in the AFC wild card.
Yeah.
And would you say probably the team you'd still pick to get it?
I'd probably still pick the Bengals to get there. I will say, with the Dolphins winning last night, it at least makes it slightly interesting that they might have some incredible run left in them. I don't think so. That was a pretty ugly game overall. But if I had to pick a team, I think it probably would be the Bengals. Their defense is atrocious. I mean, the Bengals defense is horrific, but their offense is pretty damn good. And when they get T. Higgins back, it just opens up an entire new world. Because, I mean, you saw Burrow threw for 428, but 3 specific plays really stood out. They had 2 4th and 1s. They threw a deep ball to Jermaine Burton. Horrible play calling. Horrible decision by Joe Burrow, which I feel like everyone's just glossing over that he had opportunities to make the smart play, and he tried to make the hero play 3 times in that game. Great game still overall, but those were 3 pretty massive situations. But even if it does happen later in the season, T. Higgins and Joe, I trust to be on the same page there. Jermaine Burton is just not that guy, at least not yet. So that was 2 plays on those 4th and 1s. And the final play of the game, you had 1-on-1 with Jamar Chase for the 2-point conversion. You call timeout. What are you doing? You have 1-on-1. Luckily, the Ravens were dumb again They think Jamar Chase is somehow, I don't know, Rashad Bateman over there in the corner. He's one-on-one, and Joe
ricochet shot at Rashad Bateman.
Sorry, Rashad Bateman had a good game. I don't know why I took a shot at him. Sorry. I don't know. Sorry, Rashad. I was going to say Tylan Wallace, but Tylan Wallace also had a good game. Sky Moore.
Nelson Aguilar.
I like Nelson Aguilar. He's improved. Sky Moore. He's living a one-on-one. Burrow doesn't even look his way. Burrow tries to force it in. Yeah, there was some holding, but it's 2-point conversion. That's tough. If you call it, I understand. If you don't call it, I understand. Throw to, not Mike Gesicki. Freaking throw it to the one-on-one Jamar Chase, who's going off this game. Like, there were some decisions that Joe Burrow made that I thought were questionable. I think T. Higgins helps those situations out, but the defense of Cincinnati is just, again, it's an atrocity.
The Chiefs helped the Bengals out a lot by blocking that field goal because Broncos win that game. Broncos are sitting at 6-4, 2 games above both the Bengals and the Colts. Now they're 5-5, just a game ahead. That was a big play for Bengals fans.
Well, Denver's schedule gets a lot more difficult too. So,
including this week.
Yeah.
They play the Falcons this week. That's why.
Yeah, it's, again, more difficult. They have like 1 game left. That's 2 games left that are easy. I think the Raiders and the Panthers.
Yeah, you mentioned the Dolphins could be an interesting case because their schedule gets easy. They actually have the second easiest remaining schedule. I saw that in a tweet. I didn't verify that, but they do. They do have a fairly easy schedule down the stretch. They got the Jets twice. They got the Patriots. They got the Raiders. The other 3 games are going to be tough. Packers, Texans, and 49ers. I can't lose all 3 of those. So, that final wild card spot in the AFC, it's up for grabs. It looks like the Chargers are in. It looks like whichever of the 2 AFC North teams don't win their division, the Steelers or the Ravens, they're going to be a team. And then that final wild card spot is coming down to it. Week 17, Broncos, Bengals. Great call, Trevor. That's going to be a big one for sure. Let's switch over to the NFC. The Chicago Bears are a broken team. They actually just announced this morning Shane Waldron was he fired as offensive coordinator? Or did he just lose his play calling duties? Whatever it is, he's out. I think he was fired as offensive coordinator. The Bears are horrific, Sterling.
Yeah.
They've averaged 9 points per game their last 3 games.
And they have talent. The offense wasn't supposed to be that big of an issue.
Right.
They've kind of been the opposite of what you and I thought, Ian. We thought they were going to start slow and then all of a sudden click.
And they did for like 2 games. They look great in like 2 games, and then they've just fallen apart since then.
They have just fallen apart. Caleb Williams looks lost. He just looks like a me first guy, just sitting on the bench by himself. In the end of game situations when he's complaining and all that stuff, and you're just seeing him like stalking the sideline. And I'm like, dude, you didn't even throw for 100 yards. Like, what are you doing here, Caleb? You did not do enough to deserve a win. I don't know where they go from here. I think, again, at times we have too much expectation thrown on these first round, early round quarterbacks. Like for every CJ Stroud, there are guys that need time to develop. Like, even look at Sam Darnold. I think the Jets right now would say, wow, we maybe should have kept Sam Darnold. Let's be real, right? Some of these guys take time to develop. But it's a instant gratification world that we live in now, and everyone expects Caleb to be the guy. Well, he's having and going through these growing pains, and he looks brutal right now. I'm not saying he's not the answer, but I think there was too much expectation heaped on him and this Bears team heading into this season. You and I talked about it. We never understood the Bears are a lock for the playoffs, or the Bears are going to be like this crazy surprise team. You and I were both pretty, laid back on our expectations of, okay, they might win 7-8 games.
They were slight favorites to make the playoffs, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I think you and I were both like, yeah, they might win 7 or 8 games, which... What are they at right now? Are they 3-6?
They're going to struggle to get to that point now.
Yeah, expectations were just too damn high.
We're 4-5.
4-5. Expectations were just too damn high. And their defense has been really good.
Yeah.
Outside of the Washington situation of, was it Tyreek Stevenson?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. On the Hail Mary. Yeah. Dan Orlovsky tweeted he broke down some clips of Caleb Williams from this past week, and he tweeted the word broken, and that's the best word to describe it, because he's not even like setting his feet properly. He's not going through progressions. It just looks like it's like backyard football where he just tells his receivers to run routes, and he's just going to drop back and just try to hit whoever's open. Like, he's not even going through progressions. His head's going one way, but his feet are set the opposite. It's some of the worst offensive football I've ever seen in my life at the NFL level. It does not look like an NFL offense. This doesn't even look like a college offense.
Which, again, it works in high school. It a lot of times works in college, although clearly, based on their record, not really. It doesn't work in the NFL, though. It just doesn't. And a lot of times guys have to go through this of, okay, I can no longer get away with this. But it's wild to an extent that Caleb is now still not realizing or almost pressing too much, and it's week 10.
Yeah. The 49ers squeak by the Buccaneers. I got to take on the 49ers, Sterling. They won the game, and that's all they care about. They didn't cover the spread. That's all I care about. But I'm buying in on the San Francisco 49ers. I think if you want to bet on a team to win the Super Bowl, I think they have the best value. I think they win the NFC West. I think they catch the Cardinals. I think they have a chance to return to the Super Bowl this year. I think they're way better than the record indicates, because I think this past week's game against the Buccaneers is a perfect example of what's happened in their games this season, because they dominated the Buccaneers, and only managed to win by 3 points. And that is a thing that has happened in a lot of games for the San Francisco 49ers. If you look at yards per play against the Buccaneers, 6.8 yards per play to 3.7. They averaged 3.1 more yards per snap compared to the Buccaneers. But yet only managed to win the game by 3 points. So I'm all in on the 49ers. I think now is the time to invest a little bit in the 49ers.
By the way, poor Buccaneers. You almost beat the 49ers. You almost beat the Chiefs. The week prior, you almost beat, who was it the week prior? With all of these injuries, I mean, the Buccaneers could be having a completely different conversation if the last 2 or 3 weeks, if the ball would have gone their way. A little more, right? They had some luck against the Niners. Let's be real now. You're right. I don't know what to think of the 49ers, because I'm with you. I think they're a really good team. They're one of the most talent-rich rosters in the entire NFL. I think Shanahan's a damn good head coach. They have Christian McCaffrey back. By the way, doesn't look like himself. Can we? He looked a little.
Yeah, it's one game.
We'll see. Brandon Ayuk's been buns for the majority of the season when he even plays. Yeah, I would say when he even plays.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this 49ers team. I don't know if we're giving him too much credit based on past results, right? Past results aren't always indicative of future results, but I'm with you. They feel like they should be a 7-3 team, right? What are they? 5-4? 6-4 now?
5-4.
Like they feel like they should be like a 6-3 team, right? Like I don't know. I'm with you. I think now is the time that you should probably bet on the 49ers if you still have faith in them, which again, I do have faith in them. But also it just could be a case, a older team's getting older, a team that doesn't always win the close games. Do you trust their kicker after that game? I mean,
well, he owes me money, so
there's some cracks in it. I'm just saying, I'm with you with the 49ers, but I do understand if we look back and say, yeah, we should have seen the cracks in the foundation.
10P Kid says second best team in the NFC with CMC back. Do you agree? Obviously, be between them and the Eagles is basically.
Yeah, I'd say Lions, Eagles.
Yeah. Lions still number one. It is those 3 teams. No matter which team you put above the 49ers or the Eagles, it's those 3 teams. One of those 3 teams is going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. The Commanders, they're great story, great team. They're just not quite there yet, especially defensively. And asking a rookie quarterback to go on a deep playoff run is asking a lot. Vikings, they're showing some cracks in their armor. Sam Darnold be old Sam Darnold. And then the Falcons don't have a pass rush, don't have a defense. So it's the Lions, it's the 49ers, it's the Eagles. I guess maybe you throw in the Packers. I don't think the Packers are quite there yet either. So I think it's Lions, 49ers, Eagles, a large gap, and then the rest of the NFC. Would you agree?
I think it's Detroit, Philly. That's one tier.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I think I'm putting Niners, Washington, and Green Bay almost in that next tier.
Oh, interesting. I strongly disagree.
I think people are still thinking of this Niners team as the past few seasons. And
mark the time. It is 9:57, 27 minutes before I say net yards per play. The San Francisco 49ers, second in the NFL behind only the Baltimore Ravens. Plus 1.4. Ravens plus 1.4, 49ers plus 1.4. I mean, there's some advantage in like once you get to like the hundreds. And then the Eagles, Packers, Vikings, Cardinals, Falcons, Lions. Actually, a lot of NFC teams. Wow, that's kind of interesting.
Hunter, Sterling doesn't watch games or look at numbers. I do both, pal.
He certainly doesn't look at numbers. He does watch games.
I'm a big
not a numbers guy. Yeah,
big
eye test guy.
Big eye test guy. Big gut guy. Like, you know, and it's like, should you go for it and fourth down? I'm like, what's my gut say?
Purdy, I disagree. Purdy looked great yesterday or on Sunday. I mean, especially at the start of the year, sure, Purdy hasn't looked as good as he did last year, but I thought Purdy looked great this past week. Hunter,
you're at the Chiefs game yesterday. Yeah, it's called having TVs and DVR.
Is Russell Wilson good again? Which isn't something I didn't think I'd ask, but here we are. Russell Wilson, and I tweeted this out yesterday. Let me just quickly bring this up. He has 3 starts under his belt now for the Steelers, and he currently ranks 6th in the NFL in EPA plus CPOE composite through his first 3 starts. That is better than the likes of Patrick Mahomes. It's better than the likes of Jared Goff, Kyler Murray. Is Russell Wilson good again, or is it too small of a sample size?
Well, this is a good situation for him. Like, the Broncos was not a good situation for him for a multitude of reasons. But look at what he does with these big-bodied wide receivers. Because we know how good he is with the moon ball and those deep balls, right? Well, now he has wide receivers who can win the 50-50 balls pretty damn consistently. Hell, even Mike Williams, I said, it's an overpay for a guy the Jets were probably going to cut either way. But Mike Williams, I could actually see making sense in Pittsburgh because of his skill set coupled with Russell Wilson. We saw it. It was the go-ahead touchdown, right? That 32-yarder. That was the play. So Mike Williams, George Pickens at tight end, Pat Freiermuth. Again, it's a very run-heavy offense with Najee Harris as well as Jalen Warren. Like, this offense really fits Russell Wilson. I don't know if they get down. Like, can they come back into games? Like if they get down 2 scores, do you trust Russell to really just be throw only? Can that offense operate like that? I don't know. But I think he's at least solid again. Like, I think he's at least a legit NFL quarterback again. He's played like a top 10 quarterback. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'm kind of in on the Steelers now. I have been a Steelers hater for a number of years now. I never think that their record is as good as it should be based on some underlying metrics, but now I'm kind of in. They have a quarterback. Mike Tomlin might be the greatest head coach of all time. Their defense is very good. They have a couple of receivers. I might be in on the Steelers now, which is probably a death sentence for them.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And it was like with the Vikings. Once you get on, I was like, finally, I'll admit the Vikings are good. And they're like, oh no, we're actually pretenders.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the second you and I both agree the Steelers are for real. They prove they're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. 10P kids. Mike Tomlin is a damn good head coach. He is. Like I said, he might be the greatest coach of our generation. Obviously, Bill Belichick has that right now. Andy Reid, has the Super Bowls. Mike Tomlin has won Super Bowl, but what he does on every single season with, less than elite rosters is unbelievable. And you can't make any mistakes against the Steelers. If you do, you'll lose. Let's talk Sam Darnold. Is he bad? Is he good? Is he going to blow it for the Vikings? Something's not feeling right in Minnesota, Sterling. It's not looking good. He's throwing some classic Sam Darnold interceptions, ones where it's like, did you even see the guy was there because you threw it right to him?
Yeah. Starting to turn back into a pumpkin, huh?
12 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars is a red flag. That's not good.
Yeah, that
the Jaguars defense
Jaguars,
is the worst in the NFL. 12 points?
Yeah, it's atrocious. And that was my upset pick of the week. I didn't know that Mac Jones was going to start, and that kind of sunk me. But that was why, because I'm starting to feel like this Vikings team, but more or less Sam Darnold is coming down to earth. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. We'll see if they can turn things around. Who do they have this upcoming week?
The Titans.
Well, that doesn't really tell. Well, I guess the Titans have at least a good defense.
I wouldn't be shocked if they lose that game.
This is one where the Titans have a relatively good defense, solid defense. You're going to need to see Sam Darnold get it together. But you're right. This could be a upset city pick where, again, I picked last week against Jacksonville until Mac Jones took over as a starter. Unless that was the wake-up call, Iain.
The Vikings do actually kind of need to win this game because they actually have a very difficult schedule to close out. They're 7-2, so they would have to implode down the stretch. They do have 2 games against the Bears, so give them both those games. They win 2 games against the Bears, beat the Titans. That's 10 wins. That's going to be enough. But you got games against the Cardinals, Falcons, Seahawks, Packers, Lions. That's not an easy stretch of games.
No, but they're all winnable. I mean, the Lions one's the one that kind of stands out, but all the other games are still winnable.
And also, Lions could be, that's week 18. They could be resting their starters.
Yeah.
Because the Lions are likely going to lock up number 1. So, yeah, they're still obviously very strong chance they're in the playoffs. Very, very strong chance, but there is a path for implosion, which would be tough to watch, but likely not going to happen. They'll probably be all right. Speaking of the Lions, Sterling, the Detroit Lions might be my favorite football team. Are they the most likable team in the NFL? Yes. Jared Goff, 5 interceptions.
Just answer your own question.
Well, it's just a fact. It's just objective. Okay. I didn't want you to butt in because you were probably going to say the Chiefs, which is crazy.
No, the Chiefs are the most hated team. What are we doing here?
Okay, so let me just ask that question. Are the Lions the most likable team in the NFL?
Yeah.
Right, correct. Because it's just objectively true. 5 interceptions, down and out, game over, nope, come back, storm back, last second field goal win.
Yeah, both those field goals by Bates clipped both sides. Was the first one the right and the second one was the left? I mean, they grazed the uprights. I am shocked that either went in, let alone both. I think what's getting lost is how high up on the goalpost that ball went from 52 and 58 yards. Like, that was wild. That 52-yarder was good from like 68. It was incredible. Yeah, that's resilience. I will say Jared Goff, come on now, 5.
I mean, that is, if there's one weak point in the Detroit Lions, it's that Jared Goff has a very low floor. When he plays bad, he's horrific.
Yes, but he's played great all season long. Before this game, I thought he would have been top 2 for MVP, him and Lamar. After this, you can't throw 5 interceptions and still be in it right now. Yeah, their defense is staying afloat without Aiden Hutchinson, which has been impressive. Their defense is
not just staying afloat, dominant. Their defense, they've climbed all the way up. They're like, I think, top 5. I think maybe even number 3 in opponent EPA. Like, their defense is dominant right now.
Jamison Williams getting more involved, who's a very talented wide receiver when he's actually on the field. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, again, is perpetually maybe the most underrated media-wise wide receiver in the NFL. Laporta's an outstanding tight end. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, and then, of course, I think they have like the best offensive line in football. I mean, they're just such a talented team. If you're the Texans, I don't know what to think of you. Your offensive line is atrocious. You get 5 interceptions and still lose. The Texans look like they are imploding right now. Until they get the offensive line fixed, I don't know where they go.
Texans certainly have some issues. Texans, I think the Texans are a very good young team that have a very bright future. I think last season was a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it was a little bit, they got over their skis a little bit last season. I think they're still built well. But they're just not quite there yet. They're still a couple years away.
They French
Texans
fried
are
when they
kind of
shoulda
like the
pizzaed.
Commanders right now. What'd you say?
They French fried when they should have pizzaed.
Sure. I don't know. I've never heard that before.
Skiing terms.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, they're just a couple years away. So like I'm not mad at the Texans, but they have issues that they got to fix. And they will. They got a great young core, great young head coach, but it's just this is just not their year yet. Falcons, I guess we'll talk about the Falcons game. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Who cares? The Buccaneers lost to the Falcons are going to win the NFC South. We're going to host a playoff game. So like the only bad thing that we're not going to be the number 1 seed. We're probably going to be the 3 or 4. We're probably going to be the 4. So we're going to host a top wildcard team. So let's just stay healthy. And then let's hit our stride in the last 3 weeks of the season. Who cares that we lost this game? It doesn't matter, especially because we shouldn't have lost. It was one of the most statistical improbable things for the Falcons to lose that game. I tweeted this yesterday. I encourage people to go see it. It's a guy on Twitter, Sam Hoppin, who I like. He tweets out a graph after every week that he calls, "Did we really get beat that bad?" And it just shows net success rate of every game. The Falcons had like a plus 16 net success rate percentage. But somehow lost the game. I don't know how that's possible. So they dominated the Saints up and down the field, and Younghoe Koo, their kicker, kind of lost it for them.
Yeah, and you saw that after the game. You saw Arthur Blank almost consoling Younghoe Koo coming off the field. That was a really cool, I thought, moment. Arthur Blank, again, I think one of the best owners in football.
Yes.
But that was a really cool video or shot. I'm sure he probably knew he was on camera. I have no idea. But just consoling Younghoe Koo after that was pretty cool for an owner to see there. Yeah, Kirk Cousins, red zone struggles. I mean, 306 yards, no touchdowns. Tyrann Mathieu picks you off. I'm with you. I think the Falcons are still a pretty good team. That defense is concerning overall, but you got to score more than 17. Like, giving up 20 points even to that Saints team is what that defense is pretty much going to do. You got to score more than 17. Yards are great. Touchdowns are where it matters.
This is a low floor, high ceiling team. And Sterling, I think we've talked about it before on the show. This is a team that when they play poorly, they can lose to any team in the NFL. When they play really well and they bring their A game, they can beat anyone in the NFL. So it's just going to come down to when they get to the playoffs, are they going to be able to bring their A game? And if they don't, they'll lose first round. If they do, they'll win their first game. And then if they don't, the second game, they'll lose. They are not a team like the Lions who can play a C-, D+ game and still find a way to win. They're just not. They have to play at minimum a B+ game to win. Fair?
Fair.
I'll let you know about a little insider Falcon stuff here. Falcons fans want Younghoe Koo cut.
That's stupid.
Boards are on fire right now by Younghoe Koo. That's stupid. Falcons fans are pissed. Listen, Younghoe Koo, I see both sides of it. He has been a very good kicker for us for a number of years now. He has hit some clutch field goals this season to win us games. But he's 17 of 24, 70.8%. That's not acceptable.
Like the last 2 games, he's what, like 4 of 9 or so. Like I forget what it is. What it is. He's really struggled over the past couple of weeks.
But it's not even I think it was the Buccaneers game. Maybe it was the first Saints game. There was a game where he hit a clutch field goal at the end to win it, but like we had to kick that field goal and make it because he had missed like 3 earlier in the game. So like, yeah, he has struggled. I think it was the second Tampa Bay game. Regardless, I'm not saying we got to cut him, but he's got to play better immediately. If he goes 0-3 again, they cut him.
Agreed, but he's a very talented kicker for a long time. Let's not overreact.
Correct. I think he's still top 5 in career make percentage. So
agreed.
Final question here, Sterling, for you. My friend Degen tweeted out a video about a take that got a lot of traction. Mina Kimes responded to it. Scott Van Pelt responded to it. I want your quick take on it, and then we can wrap this up. Is the NFL product bad this year?
No.
His take that NFL games aren't as exciting as they used to be. It's terrible coaching, terrible quarterback play, and as a whole, it's ruining the product. And the NFL is in a state of emergency based on how bad the product is.
I think that's a ridiculous overreaction.
Mm.
I mean, does that give zero credit to defenses adjusting? Does
No,
that
it
give?
doesn't.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it gives zero credit to defensive coordinators, defensive adjustments. It speaks volumes about how he doesn't realize there's the immense amount of parity in the NFL. I mean, there is so much parity in the NFL. Any given Sunday rings so true like never before. I get the thought process of scoring being down or quarterback play at times looking extremely inconsistent, to put it mildly. But no, I think there's a lot of young quarterbacks in the NFL starting right now, maybe more young quarterbacks than ever before. Right? I need to go down a list and see how many, 3 years or less starting in the NFL guys are. I mean, Mahomes is now one of the veterans. Like, Mahomes is like the wily vet, and he's not even 30 years old.
Right.
Like, it's a different era of football. But no, saying it's bad, I think, is just a complete and utter overreaction, and quite frankly, almost a hit piece. It's a hit piece, Ian.
Yeah, I do think it's a good point about defenses. I think the game has evolved. I think the dream era to be an NFL fan was 10 years ago, when it was the Peyton Mannings of the world. Teams are playing cover one on defense, and we just saw deep shot after deep shot, and there's yards all over the place, passing touchdowns all over the place. Yeah, it's not that anymore, but that's not because the product is bad. It's because the game has evolved. Now it's a lot more short passes. It's relying on yards after the catch. It's very good defensive play to kind of shut down deep shots. So it's not a deep shot, wide open game like it used to be. If you want that, watch college football.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Although I do think there has been some terrible coaching this season.
Yeah, that I can get behind.
Yeah. There are some old coaches who are still coaching like it's 15 years ago, and they're arrogant and refuse to change their ways. And by the way, I like Matthew's comment. Ian, are you doing the podcast in the Cowboy Stadium? Feels like we need to get some curtains. It's a real issue in this New York apartment. My setup is right next to a massive window. So if it's just only a sunny day, then I can adjust things so it'll be all right. And if it's only a cloudy day, I can adjust things to get it right. But if it's a day like today where there's some clouds, and the sun will either be behind a cloud or in the clear sky, this is what my camera does. So,
well, if you say get curtains, Jerry would say, what, are we going to tear the entire apartment complex down?
Right.
As if that's the answer. Okay.
And I actually do have a set of curtains, but they're not like, I need like black oak curtains, but yeah. I'm moving in a few months, so it's too late to do that. All right, that is the show. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe to Stack in the Box on YouTube. Rate and review the audio version of this podcast. We'll be back tomorrow, only 1 day away, Wednesday at, as usual, 5 p.m. Eastern, to break down the NFL Week 11 slate. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow.